Okay,
Can you
one
see
sec,
me,
one sec.
Maggie?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you see me?
I can see you. You've asked me that like 6 times.
Okay, I want you to look up close at the camera. And you see what I got right here in my little fingers? I'm holding it in front
little
of the mic.
fingers?
I'm holding it in front of the microphone
You mean
so
your
you can
big,
see
fat,
the
swollen
contrast.
fingers.
Do you know what this is? Can you see?
Oh, those are my earrings.
I got your earrings off the bottom of the pool.
Oh my gosh, thank
They
you.
were all in the gunk and the junk, but they didn't get sucked up by the pool cleaner. I went diving in the pool yesterday, and I found them like immediately. Like I swam right to them as if I knew where they were.
Oh my gosh.
Because I kind of did know where they were, honestly.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, which should be all of you, unless you were in our backyard when we were. When we were doing our last push in the pool video, I lost both my earrings in the pool, and we saw them, but we were having trouble getting them, and we had just changed, and we had to go. And so he told me, he said, I'll get them. And he did.
I did, and they will be returned to you at a future date unless I lose them. So
I appreciate the honesty.
yeah, you never know. I mean,
It's
they're not
true.
like super expensive earrings, but it's the thought that counts, and I know they're special to you.
What do you mean they're not
and you're
super expensive earrings?
Well, are they? Are they expensive?
They were free. They were gifted, but they might have been
You
expensive.
get a lot of gifted. You're big on gifted. Like things just
guys,
show up in your life, which is pretty
Gifted.
nice.
I'm so thankful for it. It's so incredible. And I'll tell you, one of the best parts about being gifted things is being able to re-gift things. Like right now,
That's
even
true.
I'm sitting next to a Marc Jacobs PR package. Oh my gosh. Wait, remind me to tell you about that. But I'm sitting next to a Marc Jacobs PR package with 3 perfumes. I don't need all 3, so I'm like able to give some of my friends some. And I just think like that's one of the
Yes.
most
or some of your
incredible
followers,
parts.
like you've done in the past.
Yeah, that was
So
fun.
I'm going to get you your earrings, though, because I know these are special to you and you are special to me. But we're doing a lot of talking right now, and we're getting dangerously close to starting the podcast. So I think that we should probably go ahead and roll the intro music soon. What do you think?
Let's roll the intro music.
Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
You want to know something really funny?
Yes.
So we're talking about giftings, which if you don't know, that's a big part of, not a big part, but that's a very, very cool perk that comes a lot of times when you develop a platform on social media is people oftentimes want to send you things for you to wear in your daily life so other people see it or you post about it and, marketing. And so that
People don't send me things. They just send you things.
people
And I'm
have
cool with
sent you
that.
things. People have sent you things.
Occasionally. It's very unusual and very special when it happens.
Oh my
And I'm not
gosh.
fishing for gifts. Like, I'm not doing that right now. Although,
But-
if you do want to send me gifts, I'm okay with that.
Our
too.
home address is no, but the gifting where I got those earrings that you just got, I also got
Yes.
this cute little cup, which you can see here. I got it from the gifting because I saw them. I was like, that looks like it would be perfect for my morning coffee. And so I was with my friend Mitch, and he was helping me. We were carrying a bunch of stuff, and it was the last thing I grabbed on my way out. 2 days later, or maybe it was that night, I got in my car, I took out the cup to admire it a little bit, turned it around, and saw that it's engraved with the name Lindsay.
Oh, no.
So I
Did
definitely...
you take Lindsay's cup?
I totally took Lindsay's cup.
Who's
So
Lindsay?
I have no idea. And it's like freshly engraved
Oh my
and it's definitely like
goodness.
hand engraved where somebody obviously was there named Lindsay, got someone. They had like fun different stations. It was a Coachella gifting. I didn't even go to Coachella, but it was a really cool gifting. And
Oh my
so they must have been
gosh.
doing engravings. And I guess I just took Lindsay's cup and I'm really sorry about that, Lindsay.
Well, I guess you know who you're going to regift that to. There's some chick named Lindsay.
Yeah, maybe. Or
When
I'll
you
just
meet her one day, you're going to be like, I have a cup for you. But in the meantime, it looks like a really good size for morning coffee.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is awesome because it does help you with your finances and with the flow of your life. And that's fantastic. And finances are such a huge part of everybody's life, especially for parents. And when you become a parent, you start to think about your kids' future. You start to think about everything you need to do, all the check marks that you have to kind of like make sure are covered financially and otherwise for your kids. And also like what's going to happen if something happens to you? How can you make sure that your kids are taken care of? And that's why we are so thrilled to tell you about this amazing company called Fabric. And this is such a cool concept because it's financial services and products that are designed specifically for parents. The way they say it on their website is designed for responsible humans with kids. And I love that. It's like, yes, you're a responsible human and you just happen to also have kids and you think about them all the time. And so let us tell you a little bit more about Fabric.
Fabric was built specifically for parents to help you manage your family's financial future like a parenting pro, stress-free.
Fabric's new lower prices mean significant savings over other providers with great policies like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day.
Everything is on your schedule with Fabric because it's all online. Less than 10 minutes to apply, and you could be offered coverage instantly with no health exam required. Then just personalize your quote to fit your family's needs, and you'll be set with high-quality, affordable protection for your family.
Fabric is fully backed by Vantis Life, one of the most trusted names in life insurance since 1847. So you can feel confident you're getting a high-quality policy that meets your family's needs.
With Fabric's online hub, it's quick and easy to track your family's finances all in one place. Get fast, affordable life insurance, create a will for your family, set up your kids' college savings plan, and even establish a rainy day savings fund. Planning for the future has never been easier.
There's no risk to apply today. Fabric has a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time.
Protect your family with term life insurance now in just 10 minutes. Apply today at meetfabric.com/chaos.
That's meet, M-E-E-T, fabric.com/chaos to start protecting your family today.
MEET fabric.com/chaos.
Fabric Insurance Agency policies issued by Vantis Life, not available in New York and Montana. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. So yes, check out meetfabric.com. And there is so much to see there in their dashboard for parents and a lot to learn about financial literacy. So you were saying.
I had a really fun night last night.
I heard you were going to have a fun night. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, a friend of mine invited me to, okay, I hope I get this right, but the LA Kings, it's LA's hockey team. I believe they're undefeated. I'm wearing the shirt right now. It says undefeated, so I guess that means they're undefeated this season. But
at least at the time they made the shirt.
They're going to semifinals, I believe, on Friday, and then they also have a game on Sunday, I think. And so they had a little party at the LA Kings arena.
Yes, at the ice rink,
yeah.
all that.
And so we got to go in.
Okay.
And there was such good food. There was plant-based kebabs, incredible. There was such a good variety of things, and you could skate on the where they play the games. You could skate. They had hockey pucks that you could use. We could go into the locker rooms, and get this. Me and some of my friends were in one of the rooms just talking it up, and I turn over my shoulder and I go to look because a few of our friends weren't there, and I was just looking for him, and I make eye contact, and it's Heath.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. And I was like, what the heck? And so I walked over, I said hi, I was talking to him for a bit, and then I realized Zane was right next to him, and I was like, this
okay. Just cool people. It was just cool people thing.
Just cool, good people.
So did you skate?
I did skate. Let me tell you, it was a little intimidating because I think I've never been to a hockey game in my life. I think I'm going on Friday and Sunday, which will be really, really exciting. And I think I'm really going to like it. I think hockey's really cool. But being on the ring, I think there were some LA Kings players on the ice because there was
probably so. They were probably there to mix and mingle for their fans.
Yeah. There was it was also a really small event, kind of small. But there were these guys in LA Kings kind of track warm-up suits, and those were the ones I think were probably LA Kings players.
Were they big? Were they big guys who looked like athletes?
They weren't huge. They weren't like crazy buff, but they definitely knew what they were doing.
Yes.
And so there I am, like skating, surrounded by people who actually really know what they're doing. And it was just a really cool experience. I had so much fun.
Well, congratulations. That sounds amazing. Did you pass out?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. No, I
'Cause
did
the
not
last
pass
time
out.
you and I went skating, it was one of your famous episodes where you passed out. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. That
We were
was
having
so
such a good time. You were
Such a good
You were in high
time.
school, and I don't know why, but we just decided to go ice skating. And so we did. We're doing laps and all this kind of stuff. We come back and we sat down for just a second. Did I tell you about this, honey? By the way, Mom's in the studio too.
Oh, hey.
And by the way, I'm Dad. I'm Dan, Maggie's dad. That's Maggie. She's Maggie Thurman.
I
And
pass
this is
out at
Wholesome
ice skating
Chaos.
rinks.
Welcome to the podcast. We're really glad you're here. And so she sits down on this little wooden bench and just kind of passes out. Like I caught her. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and
this
whatever.
is. I remember you going to the bathroom. Like I sat down on the wooded bench, and then I remembered like you going to the bathroom, and I woke up and you were there. Is
Funny
that not how
I'm
it
the
went?
hero in my own memory.
Well, here's the thing. My memory is also a little bit twisted because I did pass out.
But you know what I do remember? And I
What?
wonder if you have this same recollection, is that after that, I was like, okay, how do you feel? Do you want to just go now, or do you want to skate another lap? It was kind of like, do you want to get back on the horse and like do it again? And you were like, let's go one more time.
Are
Man,
you crazy?
We
it's
skated
not
it-
like she fell down and you're saying.
We skated
like,
another
you're
lap.
Like she
I just
passed
didn't want her to
out.
associate like ice skating with passing out.
well, clearly
And
I
Maggie
didn't
had
because I
this-
forgot.
Yeah.
Was that the time
Otherwise,
we
she
went
might
as a
not have even
family
gone to the
and,
LA Kings
and Eddie
thing.
was there too, or
If
no?
that if I hadn't done that, she wouldn't have had such a great time last night. We just, I am the hero.
No, we went ice skating as a family at least once or twice.
This was
Yeah,
just
for
Dad
sure.
and I,
You
though. I
know,
do
like,
remember that.
Yeah, we did a lot of roller. I think we did more roller skating than ice skating
Yeah.
because we
Why
lived
the
pretty
heck
close
were
to
you and I
roller
ice skating? Why were you and I just ice skating?
I was pushing for more like dad-daughter stuff. Let's do some fun activities in between my speeches and travels, and you picked that for some reason. So it was great. And Maggie's passing out. It hasn't been happening as much lately, right? But it happened probably half a dozen times throughout your childhood.
I feel like more
in
than
various
that.
situations.
There was that time at family pictures. There was that
Oh,
time in
yes.
church. There's that time at
Yes.
recess.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most recent one, actually, we already talked about on the podcast. It was, I think, our second episode of the podcast. Freshman year of college, I passed out in the gym and had seizure-like activity, and that opened up a whole new experience.
Yes. I mean, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but that was
No, it's
43
funny.
episodes ago. So
It's a funny story.
a lot of people probably missed it.
Well, they can
Well-
go back. They can go back and watch it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that, and good luck at the game, and go LA Kings. I can't wait to hear more and more about that. That's cool. I've had a really busy week. I had 2 speeches in Rapid City, South Dakota, 2 speeches in Chicago, Illinois. Mom and I went back up to North Carolina. We've been spending a lot of great time together, a lot of hang time with the dogs, some disc golf, a lot of work, like a lot of things going on, and also writing. Like every morning I'm trying to crank out more and more of my manuscript because that's due in like a month. And so it's just, it's a little overwhelming, but it's kind of fun at that pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
But I was
sure.
thinking about something the other day when I got up and I had to sign some things. And I was like, have you ever noticed that some days when you wake up and you like write, your handwriting is different than it is other days? Like your handwriting, have you ever tried to write something and you're like, I don't hardly recognize my handwriting. It looks a little different today. It's just a slight variation, but I thought that was really interesting that your handwriting goes through different iterations. Like when I'm signing books, a lot of times I after a speech and I'm signing a bunch of books, I'm like, oh, my handwriting looks really good today. Like it matches the signatures I've already put on the books really, really well. And
That's so funny. I thought you said Sunday. Did you notice that your handwriting is really nice on Sunday? You said someday.
some days.
I was
Some
like,
days
I don't know.
your
But we should
handwriting.
do an experiment and see if that's
Yes.
really a thing.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I experienced that a ton. I feel like I've definitely had some days where Sundays, where I notice it looks really good,
Yes.
but not specifically days.
You have nice handwriting.
Yeah, you
We've
do.
been looking through a lot of your older handwriting, going through
Yeah.
clippings
What's up?
and
Your old
songs
diaries.
and notes and things you've left us.
We've been
And
going through
Eddie.
your diary.
And Eddie's drawings and like, mom keeps these kid files of all this material or all these like things that you wrote and pictures you drew and all this kind of stuff. And occasionally we go through it looking for material for the
So
podcast
funny.
to share
So
and
funny.
kind of embarrass you and Eddie. But we decided not to include any of that today. But anyway,
I appreciate that.
no, I'm pretty proud of my handwriting. Like for a guy, I feel like I have very
terrible.
nice handwriting. When
No,
I
see,
do.
Dad and I have this competition that we both think our handwriting is better than the others, and both of us have horrendous handwriting.
I do not have horrendous
You
handwriting. Honey, I have beautiful hand. I've been told I
We'll
have
be
beautiful
posting
handwriting.
some of that on Instagram, and you can vote on who
I've been
has
told by handwriting experts
I
that my handwriting
happened.
is
I don't
strong
think
and
either of you
persuasive
have
and
terrible
confident.
handwriting.
Oh,
I don't
we
think
both
either of you have terrible handwriting. You both write in cursive a lot, and
True.
so sometimes it's harder for people to understand because apparently a lot of people don't know how to read cursive.
Yes, or
Which I
write
feel-
cursive.
I feel like cursive reading, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like there's only a handful of letters that are really completely different in cursive, you know? That's
But maybe
that's
it's just
crazy.
like a mental block because what happened was they stopped teaching it in public schools. So
I
when you
remember.
went to private school and Eddie stayed in public school, they stopped teaching him cursive handwriting and you kind of persisted with that. And
Well,
therefore,
I remember starting to learn it in public school, and then I remember when the curriculum got canceled, and it was all like, oh, I guess
you?
never mind, we're not doing that. I think I do.
it's kind of
but
like
yeah.
every so often they say, we're going to convert to the metric system.
The metric system, guys.
And then the next week they're like, never mind. It's too
No.
complicated for you
Goodness.
Americans. We're not going to
Honestly.
do it. Not going to do it.
Honestly, but something that was like ingrained in us over and over at my school, the private school, was in middle school, 5th grade, because I went there in 5th grade, up until 7th grade, because 8th grade went to our high school. They told us over and over again, they were like, guys, you have to write everything in cursive because your high school teachers, not writing in cursive is not going to fly. You have to write in cursive for every single thing you do. And then I got to high school. I don't think any of my teachers required or wanted us to write in cursive. And I was like,
so much faster. It's faster to write in cursive, but it's much more sloppy, I think.
yeah, if you're not good or like
Yeah.
pretty neat at your cursive, it can be a lot harder to read. But that was also the same thing with in high school. They told us over and over again, you need to write MLA on every single one of your papers. That's how you have to like set it up because no teacher in college is even going to read it if you don't set it up right. Practically, I think I had one college professor who was like, you have to do this format. The rest of them were like, just put your name on it. I'll figure it out.
What's NLA?
MLA, we're both confused by that.
MLA. So there's different page headings. There's MLA, APA, which is like MLA goes, you write your name, then you write the class, then you write the assignment, then you write the date in that order. And then everything is double spaced, I believe. APA is like a different variation of it. Maybe it's single space. I'd have to look it up all the time, but it's just different formats for starting up your paper.
Gotcha.
Or
But you know
assignment,
what
yeah.
you do have to do, regardless of whether you're in middle school or high school or college or not even in school at all, is you need to eat. And you need
That's
to eat
true.
good food and better to eat like fresh food. And
Mm-hmm.
what could be better than fresh food that's delivered to your door that you get to prepare and learn about cooking and make these amazing meals and choose from an incredible repertoire of different food and different selections. And you can mix it up and try different things all the while. And so you know where that comes from. You know who
I do.
provides that for you. Who is it, Maggie?
I know. It's HelloFresh.
It is absolutely HelloFresh.
HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant and is even cheaper than grocery shopping. That's money back into your pocket.
Customize your favorite dishes with their new Hello Custom offerings by swapping out one protein or side for another, upgrading for a more luxe experience, or even adding protein to a veggie meal. That means more choices, more variety, and more meals truly tailored to you.
I think it's really interesting because my personal experience in HelloFresh, I've gotten more and more comfortable. So now sometimes I'll even take a recipe and say, like, I'm going to do something a little bit different because I'm more confident in my cooking. I know how to simmer things and how to make sauces and like how to do different things. And so I can take more liberties with it to take the recipe they give me and then just change it a little bit if I want to.
Absolutely. And yes, you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it. Eddie and Morgan have done their fair share of HelloFresh cooking. The whole family is totally on board. And we think you should be as well. So go to HelloFresh.com/16chaos and use that code 16chaos for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts.
That's HelloFresh.com/16chaos to use code 16chaos for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts.
America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh. Did you hear the dogs come in the studio?
I did not. Oh my
During
gosh,
that
how are
ad.
they?
Yes. So we're having another thunderstorm. We had this amazing thunderstorm last night that shook the house. And you know how Spencer, especially our dog, our Chihuahua, reacts to crazy weather. He just gets very frightened of loud noises. And we're here in the studio, and it started thundering again. And so Mom ran in the house to check on him, and they came in here. And they're much happier now that they're in our company. So anyway, in case you heard any dogs in the background, that's what that was. And, you know, that's the cool thing about Georgia, especially this time of year, is you get those thunderstorms, the weather systems that bring this really exciting, wild weather kind of in the mid-afternoon. You don't get that out there in LA very often.
We do sometimes. I say what we get even more, or at least what I hear even more sometimes, is the wind. Wind can get crazy here. But I've realized I find it really relaxing to sleep during thunderstorms. It's kind of like a little sound machine. I have something really cool to show you.
Okay.
Okay, close your eyes real quick.
There's a lot of visuals on this audio podcast.
I know. I'll explain what it is, but close your eyes.
Okay, closing my eyes.
Okay, don't open yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can open.
Oh my gosh, that's a cool hat. Maggie's wearing this super cool, cute blue hat that looks familiar. Why does that look familiar to me?
I don't know.
Did you have a hat like that?
Guess what? I made this.
No, you didn't.
I crocheted this
You
hat.
crocheted a hat?
Good job.
This is a blue little bucket hat. I've known how to crochet for a while. I remember actually Aunt Wendy taught me. That was a really
cute.
sweet thing that she did for me because kind of learning online is a little tough sometimes because it's just harder to see. But I remember specifically Aunt Wendy taught me how to crochet, and that's something I will forever be grateful to her. But in high school, I was really good at crocheting squares and rectangles. Like I got doing the basics down, but I was always very, very intimidated by trying anything more like set in stone. I actually specifically remember in high school, I crocheted some of my friends' bras because there was a book I read where this girl was like, I think it was actually the Pretty Little Liars book, and it said like Aria crocheted her friend's bras for like one Christmas or something, and I was like, wait, that's so fun. I'm gonna do that, but I didn't know how, and so I stapled parts of it. There were staples in it.
Ouch.
And so I just decided. When I was home, I took 2 of my crochet needles back here. Do you remember, Mom? I asked you where they were, and I went to go find them, and I just sat down. I bought some yarn, and I watched a video, and I just had it in my head. I was like, I didn't actually think it was going to go super great, but once
I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Once I got the top done, I was like, wait a second, I can do this. And then throughout the whole thing, whenever I was around my friends crocheting, I was just in awe because I was like, no way did I make this. Like I've bought bucket hats crocheted because they're so fun, and now I can just make them. Thank you. I've had so many of my
Are you
friends.
in like a crocheting club? You said when you were around your friends crocheting.
Oh, I brought it to the movie theater because I saw the Nick Cage movie twice because I had some friends who wanted to see it.
The Nick
So-
Cage movie.
Yeah, so we were in the back row, and I was like, I'm just gonna bring it. I actually didn't end up crocheting during the movie, but I brought it
I was
just in
gonna say,
case.
how could you see?
Did you crochet don't crochet while you're ice skating. That could be dangerous.
No, for sure. But if you get cold, you might need to like crochet yourself some clothes. for
Really
ice
quick.
skating.
Like let me whip you up a scarf.
Yeah,
Here you go,
but
Mr.
I-
LA Kings player. Here's your little scarf.
My grandma taught me how to crochet, and I crocheted a belt, which consisted of, I think, 4 rows that were like, like 2 feet long, and then I sewed a couple of buttons on the end, and that was my
Yep.
belt. It was so lame. But that's all I had the patience for.
Yeah, I did find myself getting impatient with this, where I was like, I just want to finish it. Like, I just want to see what it looks like. I think it took me 4 days. 4 days.
That's
to
cool.
Do it.
I'm super
Yeah,
proud
I
of
was
you.
like 9 when I did it.
You know, Mom wants one for Christmas or for her birthday.
I know.
So-
Well, that's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say. Is
we
I've
should
had
start selling them.
I've had so many of my friends ask me to crochet them hats
Yes,
now.
I'm sure you did.
And number one, I don't.
I'm surprised you didn't make a TikTok with it yet.
I didn't. Again, I did not think it was gonna go this well. I might do one. I might do one of me making another for a friend because I'm gonna do a crochet hat swap with one of my friends. But I told them, I was like, if you really want me to crochet you a hat, go to Joann's or Michael's, buy some yarn and give it to me. Then give me 6 months and I'll try and get around to it.
And suggest movies that you want me to watch
Yeah.
while I make your hat.
Yeah.
So, in keeping with the visual theme of this audio podcast, ladies and gentlemen, right now I'm going to teach you all how to juggle. There you go.
Oh, that was such a good tutorial.
I want you to go get some potatoes out of your fridge or some oranges
Out of
some,
your garden.
out of your garden, or roll up some socks or balls of yarn would be interesting. No, maybe we won't do the juggling tutorial on this particular episode, but you made me think of something that I always think about, which is the basics. And it caused me to also think about, if you don't mind me getting a little bit motivational, the Day of Excellence. So in Rapid City, South Dakota, where my speeches were earlier this week, there's this amazing event that they do every year. This was the 11th year, and it's open to the whole community. Unlike most of my speeches, which are private for the corporations who hire me or associations who bring me in, this one's open to the public. So people send their employees, or they bring their team, or they just go on their own because they want that kind of motivational or personal development education in their life. And they bring in speakers. There were four professional speakers, including myself. I was the closer of the whole event, and everybody was great. It was a super fun event. 1,600 people in this amazing theater in Rapid City, beautiful area. I'd only been there once before, and actually that was the same area where I first learned how to, the first time I had an experience flying a small plane, kind of like planted the seed for me to be a pilot one day. But what you made me think about was a story that one of the speakers, Alan Stein Jr., told. He's a basketball coach and studies great coaches and great players like Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry. And invariably, all these stories go back to the idea that these guys who were undisputedly like the best in their categories at their times when they played, they worked the hardest on their games, doing the most basic skills over and over. Like Kobe Bryant started his routine, his practice at 4 a.m. every day. And he said, I went in there to watch him thinking like he'd be doing something really interesting. And he's doing the same drills that I would teach middle schoolers as they're just learning about basketball. And, and he watched him, and he had all these routines about he doesn't leave the gym unless he makes X number of free throws in a row without dropping and all, without missing, and, all these things. And he said, Kobe, I'm just amazed, like that you are still doing these specific drills. And he said, well, that's why I'm where I am. And so his point was like, it's about never getting bored with the basics, and continuing no matter, success when you get down to it is pretty boring. It's about staying with the process a long, long time, drilling it over and over. Like Mike Rayburn practices all the time. And he had somebody kind of the same way told him, hey, Mike, I know the secret to your success. I figured it out. And Mike said, really? What is it? Because I'm kind of curious myself. And he said, you fell in love with practice.
Yeah.
And I loved putting it that way because it's like, he's like, yep, you're right. And knowing Mike as well as I know Mike, I mean, that's what he does. He's always, if you got a guitar in a room, he's picking it up. He's working on something. He's playing. I've got Spencer. You can
He
hear
just
him.
picked up a puppy. Oh,
I just picked up a
Spency.
puppy.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in my lap. He's
Oh,
afraid
I
of the
need to
thunder.
take him out because he's panting because he's stressed.
Yeah, Mom's gonna take him out. Sorry, guys. So
Take him outside, not like,
Yeah.
not like.
not go put him down. No, absolutely.
I totally get that though, and I've actually been listening to a good bit of interviews lately with Backstage. Does interviews with different actors. I listened to the Nicolas Cage one just because I had just seen the Nick Cage movie. Twice. I listened to the podcast in between them too, so I watched it, heard about his technique, and then watched him again and kind of saw him implementing it. And just like, it's interesting to watch someone's performance when you know their prep a little bit. But something in the most recent one that I was listening to this morning was this girl was talking about how her friends and family and everybody just didn't get why she was choosing this profession where it really does entail so many no's and being told, nope, and working. She said she was like, she worked crappy jobs to like, you know, even be able to chase this dream. And she said, she was like, if you're not completely in love with it and like the love for it doesn't outweigh everything that is difficult about it, like you're not going to stick with it. And that's what you see in like really, really successful actors. They didn't book their first audition. There were so many no's for the most part. And so, yeah, it just goes back to like loving practice and stuff. Like you said, I love that. I think that's so cool. I love going into like script analysis and all of the little intricate things before you actually get to the other part. I think all of it's fun, you know, not just the fun part. And so that like propels you forward.
Yeah, it's so weird because in some ways I feel like I'm just starting my career, you know, in terms of speaking and writing, because it's always a new experience. You know, you're always going up in front of a new audience, and regardless of how many times you've done it in the past, there's always that thought in your mind of like, oh my gosh, I hope it works again. Like,
Yeah.
I hope this goes well this time, even though it always goes well. People, you know, I've logged a lot of
You're your
hours.
worst critic. Yeah.
Right. But it's just keeping it new. But looking back on my career, like today I had an email exchange with a new speaker who asked me a bunch of questions about like the business and what's the blueprint for success and how do you go from this point to booking this number of engagements and like these really specific questions. And, you know, I'm so grateful. I'm not starting now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a lot different than it used to be. But looking back on my success, because it's like, wow, like I don't want to say I've arrived, but I'm at a place in my career where people do look up to me and they're like, you have a track record of success and you've achieved these designations and you've done these things. And I honestly can say so much of it is just not stopping, just
Yeah.
continuing to show up
Yeah.
and go again and not letting the mistakes throw you and having the support of Mom and all of her help throughout my career and of course the whole family behind it and all of that.
Yeah.
But,
Also, like,
yeah.
sorry, like being able to fail, like being able to fail and it not be the end is such an important skill in life. You know,
Yes, I think I know exactly what you mean.
because and I've definitely fallen into this before with certain things where it's like one big fail and I give up on it. And I'm like, okay, nope, we're not doing that. Crocheting. I did that for years, and now I've come back, and I'm making bucket hats. But yeah, just the ability to push through failure, because failure is such an important part of practically everything. Like getting good at anything, you're gonna need some failure in there most likely.
Yeah.
I think that's such an important tool.
Don't you think also that's why things like juggling or crocheting, it's like these things that, you know, on the surface, it's like they really don't matter that much. they're great because it's a safe way to fail. If you drop a ball, it's like no big deal. You pick it up.
Yeah.
Like no one's going to ding your permanent career because you struggled with something silly or fun or a hobby. And I think that's where you often learn those lessons that then become repurposed in new ways. And maybe when the stakes are higher in your life, personally or professionally.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. So, and then after Rapid City, I went to Chicago, my hometown, which is where I grew up. And I was on that part of town, the south. I was in the city, downtown, Hyatt Regency on Wacker Drive, right on Michigan Avenue with the Chicago River there. Building's amazing, beautiful. I ended up shooting a weekly video there, even though I wasn't initially going to do it. I was kind of underdressed. It was windy. It was late in the day.
The Windy City.
It was a windy city, right? But I was like, I've got to do this. Like, how could I not shoot a video on this backdrop, right? So I'm really happy I pushed through and knocked that out.
I saw some TikToks too. I saw some TikToks from Chicago.
I made a TikTok with a Michael Jackson impersonator. I did that, and that was really
That's so
fun to kind of throw him some love. But also just the memories were really strong, particularly with Grandpa. You know, being in his city, and now that he's passed, you know, thinking about all of the memories in my life with him, and the first time seeing the Tribune Tower and, like, you know, the Lakeshore, and then going to the fire department downtown and Navy Pier, and I'm like, all of this stuff's flooding back, and it really did hit me in a very, very interesting way, a good way, you know, but also a very, very cool way too.
Yeah, for sure. Happy remembering.
So we have a question from Natalie.
Let's get
Would you be
into
interested
it.
in hearing it? Okay,
Yep.
cool. And by the way, if you're interested in giving us a topic to discuss, if you want to hear our perspectives on an issue or an idea or question you're facing in your life, or if you just want to reach out to us and tell us what's going on with you or your impressions of the show, wholesomechaos.com. It's a really fun website. You can go there, you can leave us your question, and you can also check out more about us and some good resources for your family, and all of that's there too. Okay, so this is from Natalie. She says, I am currently a senior in high school, and I'm thinking about taking a gap year to be able to work before I study for my future career. Any motivation, tips, etc. for the adult world, and how to get back into my learning routines once I'm in school for my future career. P.S. I love your podcast. It's the first one I've ever listened to. Keep up the great work, guys.
Yay!
So I thought you would be uniquely positioned to inform Natalie's life a little bit, considering your young adulthood, your life in LA, and also taking a little bit of break from your college education. And what do you think?
Can you reread the last bit of the question? The tips for, what was it exactly?
Yeah, so basically, like, after the gap year's over, you know, whatever, gap year, like, how does she get back into a learning routine, you know, and get her mindset back in, like, okay, I'm ready to gear back up for school.
Yeah, that was so hard, even with COVID.
Yes.
Like, I feel like the end of my senior year of high school, I don't think I really learned anything. Once we were online, we were so out of a learning mode that when I got to college, it was kind of like, both me and my roommate, we were like, I don't really remember how to retain information, which is wild. That's so wild.
You know, I think about that period of time, and I think that so many people were kind of on autopilot, both the teachers, the students. We were all in shock. We didn't know what was going on, and yet we have to go through these routines in life, and you don't know what's important anymore or what's going to happen or why we're doing this. And it was a very strange time. You'll be talking about that time to your kids and grandkids probably, you know.
I know, which is
future.
wild. But yeah, for me, what I found worked the best, because I did have a pretty difficult time getting back into a learning routine in college. But what helped me the most was I've always been the type of person to retain better when I write it down. And so actually taking notes. And if your classes, I guess classes probably won't be on Zoom anymore, But for me, when classes were on Zoom, if I wanted to pay attention, I'd have to put my phone in a different room because most of the time my camera would not be on. There's no accountability. I could be scrolling through Instagram, doing whatever. But if I was specifically there, I actually enjoy taking notes. So I'll be listening for things that I can write down in a pretty color to make look nice. And then my body slowly did start to retain that. Going to different places, like my roommate and I would go to the Starbucks to study. And we kind of got in a routine of that where I think we went to Starbucks like practically every day because it was on campus and it was in our meal plan. So we were like, great. And that kind of got us into a routine and gave us a little bit of accountability for we're going to get this done this day. And we also used each other for accountability so much. We'd say, we're not watching Degrassi tonight until we both finish this. And so that's what I found really helped me. And also what I find now really helps me is I struggle getting out of bed so much of the time. But if I just force myself to get up, wash my face immediately, and put a bagel into the into the toaster, I find my day started. If I get up and grab my phone, I'll lay in bed for the next 30 minutes. But if I like start my day with those same things, grab my coffee in my Lindsay mug, and get my day going, it puts me in a lot better place to be productive. Did that kind of answer it? Did that make sense?
Is your phone, I'm going to ask you another question, but first I want to know, is your phone next to your bed when you go to sleep?
It is.
Because I'm thinking that maybe that would be a better, this is unrelated to the question, but a better routine is to put your phone away from the bed, go to sleep, and that way when you get up, you have to get up to go turn off an alarm or whatever. Like I remember one time someone suggested to me, and this really worked, was to put your alarm not next to your bed, but like on your dresser. So to turn off your alarm, you actually had to get out of bed to go turn off your alarm. But my point was that would like remove the temptation and probably also make it easier to go to sleep. So I think you did answer the second part of the question. What about the first part about the gap year? Just the pros and cons. I mean, at this stage, having some experience in the real world and just living life and learning from living, would you recommend a gap year?
It so depends in my mind. Because let me think. I think it depends on what you want to do, if you know what you want to do. Because there are some people who, from age 6, have said, I want to be a doctor and still feel that way. And so I think if you know what you want to do, I think, sure, go for it. Get into it because you might get into it and then decide, actually not what I want to do. And then maybe you need to take some time to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I think gap years are cool. I think being able to get out into the world and kind of grow up for yourself. Like college is growing up to an extent. You know, you still have a lot of structure in your life. You still, most of the time, like you're on a meal plan. It's kind of like someone else is feeding you. Yeah. If you get out into the world by yourself, you're going to grow up a lot quicker in my mind. So there is that pro, I'd say. Con, all my friends actually didn't go to college. So I didn't have a ton of FOMO. Like I was the only one who wasn't in it. Like I have friends who aren't in school right now. I have friends who are in school. So we have a good mix. But I do know friends who all their friends went to college and they were like, crap, what do I do? So I guess that's a con.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's so specific to situations.
And to the person.
To the person.
And how mature are you now? And what's your plan? Like if I wouldn't just say take a gap year to just figure yourself out and kind of like wander. Take a gap year off to do something very interesting and specific, whether it's to travel.
Somewhere.
To travel or to try a job or a career or, there was probably a point in my life where I would have cautioned against a gap year. I think my whole concept of college has transformed a bit during the COVID situation and just, not just college good or bad, but just the cost value equation of it in terms of the expense and the opportunity cost of your time in your most precious years, right? And so it depends on the person. Do you want that structure and safety around you, or do you want to get out and explore and adventure? And then the second part, but I would say, gap years in retrospect to me would have been an interesting idea. I don't know, like the downside of me as a parent would have been, what's the likelihood that you're going to get back into education? And if it's important to you to get a degree, well, that may diminish a little bit, or you might just have to negotiate that and work it out with your parents.
Yeah.
In terms of like, yes, I'm going to get back into college. I'm just figuring out exactly what I want to study and what I want to learn. Then to the second part of your question, I would say, how do you get back into learning mode? Never get out of learning mode.
Yeah.
Like make that gap year, like Maggie was saying, an incredibly rich experience where suddenly you're learning from life. Like you're taking courses that you decide, like, this is my trajectory of what I want to learn and grow and do. And I'm going to kind of like self-prescribe this course of learning about these areas. Read a lot, make notes, make journals, write essays. Like you could be like literally your own student guide and put yourself into that program. But I think it's really exciting for you, Natalie, and I just wish you the greatest amount of success and joy and self-discovery as you go through that process. And thanks for listening to the podcast and letting us be a part of that. So keep in touch and let us know how it's going and what you decide to do.
Yeah. Dad, can I just say, I'm very impressed with your opinions on college and how they have changed a little bit, because I definitely remember growing up and I was kind of a little bit the same way, where it's just like it had been so ingrained in me that success equals college. And so I remember like the amount of conversations we would have, and like I totally would understand your concern about it. And I feel like we both kind of went through just a realization and like learning together in that, as the whole world did with COVID. And I'm just really impressed that you were able to like take in new information and like acknowledge new information. And yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think that's a life application of what you like speak about. And I think that's very cool.
Well, thank you, Mags.
Did
my daughter just encourage me and give me like bonus points?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It took a few conversations, but you
you
definitely were able to see
as a parent
scenarios.
There really is a lot of like we were talking about with fabric, right? With meetfabric.com. Like when you become a parent, you immediately have this idea in your heart, like, I can't believe I love someone this much. I never thought it was possible to have this much love in my life and love in my heart. I mean, yes, I love your mom like to the ends of the earth. And when you have a kid, there's just a different thing that happens when this is like the biological product of your existence and the person that you love here in a new form. And it's at that moment, interestingly enough, that you also understand how much your parents love you for the first time. And so it's like, oh my gosh, no wonder they were so concerned about me, right?
Yeah.
And it's like all of that comes full circle. So a lot of that gets blended with fear. And I think a lot of parenting mistakes come from a fear motivation of, I don't want to screw up my kid. I don't want to limit their options. I don't want them to go off the tracks. And I want them to be okay in life and not, I want them to have every advantage. And college certainly is one of those structures and institutions where it's like, that sets you apart as suddenly there's new opportunities available to you. Why would I not want my kids to have that?
And you also like know where they're going to be for the next 4 years. You know they're going to be taken care of for the next 4 years. Like it makes sense.
Especially
to me.
when you have a role in the selection of the college. Like that was big. That was really important as
Especially when your kid goes to college 40 minutes away from you and comes home every single weekend.
Or Eddie at High Point. Like we were really comfortable with him at that university because we love the
so well.
college. We knew the president. It's like
Yeah.
they're doing things interesting and they're talking about life skills. But even before college, and Mom might chime in on this too, but I remember vividly thinking, our kids are going to be okay. Like the knowledge and
Oh yeah,
satisfaction.
I totally knew that.
Yeah, of knowing,
Yeah.
like seeing your independence, your confidence, your creativity, Eddie's leadership skills among his friends, like being able to marshal his friends into some video project where he just gets this idea, suddenly starts shooting a short film, and it's like, all right, if kids get these certain skills, like how to communicate with their peers, how to lead others, how to follow through on their promises or manage projects, and like it's like, all right, regardless of what else happens, they have value in life that's not just intrinsic to, of course, you've got value as a human being, but you've got a lot that you can give and a lot that you can do that you can distinguish yourself from others who don't have those skills or don't have the confidence to use those skills. So, but yeah, I guess I had to let go of some of that fear along the way.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in specifically to Natalie, where I think it's important to get some counsel from people who know you, from family and friends, maybe counselors, teachers, whatever, to know whether that's really right for you. And why do you want to take a gap year? Because to me, I was like the summer between graduation and starting college, that was kind of my gap months there to go travel, to see friends, to go camping and do some fun things. I didn't want to take a year off. But I love the idea of going to college. I think if anybody has the opportunity to at least try it out to see if that's for you, certainly if you know, like Maggie said, if you know what you want to do, I wouldn't slow down that momentum coming out of high school. If you don't know and you feel like it's just going to be a waste of money, then maybe you should take a gap year. But I would get some counsel from people who know you specifically to see if that really the right thing for you.
Yeah, and even if
college
you
is
don't
awesome,
know,
even if you take a year, even if you don't finish. I did not finish college. I went in and I went for a year and a half, and then I moved and found that I had to get a job because I couldn't afford to support myself and go to school. So I went full-time work and took classes at night, and ultimately I just talked my way into all the film classes, took all the production classes and everything. Even though I wasn't getting a degree, the professor let me take all of the classes I wanted. So I got the education, and I never stopped learning. I still take master classes and retreats and education on writing. So it depends on the vocation as well.
I think
ahead, Max.
education is more important than a degree, because you can get a degree without an education. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, but I am very glad I went to college, even for the period of time that I did. I don't know yet if I'm going to go back. I think I probably will, but I do believe that you can get an education without a degree, and you can get a degree without an education. So it really it comes down to you.
Sorry, Maggie. I didn't mean to
No, go
interrupt.
ahead.
Finish.
Go ahead.
Well,
I was just gonna say I agree with Mom that, like, if you do have an opportunity to go to college, I think it is a really cool experience. Even if you don't go for 4 years, I think, maybe try it.
And momentum is the right word. I'm
momentum.
really glad you said that, because that's the other fear of the gap year, is that you don't have the momentum to get back into it, or, you lose interest. What I was going to say is the whole notion of success and credibility that comes from a degree. I think that equation's changed. I think that people really want to know, who are you? What do you believe? Depending on the career. But we're all self-starters, business owners, entrepreneurs. Like, we go out there and make our dreams come true in the world. And in that world, when I hire a videographer, or when I hire someone to work on my team for a specific project, or in marketing, I don't care about their degree. I want to know their results, who they are. Can I work with them? Are we alike on values? Will they deliver what's promised? Can I see samples of what you've done and accomplished?
Yeah.
And if you could prove that to me, the degree just becomes irrelevant
Yeah.
or
So
less
true.
important. Not irrelevant,
yeah.
less important.
For sure.
Secondary.
Man, look at us getting all collegey on this podcast. We
Yeah,
had a
this
good
is-
range of things on this podcast. I like this one.
Yeah, me too. I had a lot of fun with you on episode 45. We're coming out getting close to a
45.
year.
Wow. That's wild.
crazy.
Man,
I know.
well, thank everyone, or I meant to say thank you, everyone. I wasn't talking about you.
Or just thank
Thank
you,
you.
because you're the
Thank
one
you.
listening. Like
Yes,
just you.
thank you for listening to this podcast. We appreciate it more than you know. You can go out to our website to ask us more questions, tell us how we're doing. It's wholesomechaos.com. It's a cute little website. So yeah, be sure to check it out. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear us again next week. Check out our socials. Sorry, I didn't mean to say check out our socials. Don't check out our socials. I mean, you can if you want, but
You
no
know what?
pressure.
I want you this week to go just do something cool in life, man. Just make something happen. Push yourself a little bit further than you have in the past and make some people smile, as Maggie would tell you to do. And just believe in yourself, because we believe in you. And and we love you. And our whole family. Eddie out there is editing the podcast, and he's thinking about you. And Shay's editing and posting and
the heck?
doing all kinds of stuff. And we think about you guys all
Alrighty.
throughout the week. We love
We're
you.
thinking about a lot of things. Well, I love you,
Next
Dad.
week.
I love you. I love
I
you
love
both.
you too. See you later.
Bye.
Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
So these are kind of pricey earrings, you think?
I don't know. They're cute. Are they
They
still
don't stay
gold?
on very well.
Are they still
especially in the
gold, or
pool.
did the water rust them?
They're a little dingy, but I think you could clean them up pretty well. Whoops, I just dropped it. I will try to hold on to these until I see you again.
I appreciate it.
You bet.